Hello, my name is Anthony Tapia, and today I will be talking about Art 2 and some things that I've learned and some things that I need to work on in the future. Now, starting off, I wanted to talk about my Jedi name, which is probably the easiest project I had to do for that class so far. This is because I hardly worked on it at all, and I didn't use Photoshop or anything, and just overall didn't care for it that much. It shouldn't have been like that. I should have done more to it than just having a Stormtrooper helmet on there, and I should have just worked on it some more. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the oil pastel landscapes and what I learned from that project. The oil pastel landscapes was also generally easy, but that was mainly because I had an easy picture to replicate. It was also kind of easy because Mr. Poult taught me how to make trees actually look like trees. The technique was to use small strokes of many green or yellow type colors to make the illusion of sunlight and shadows. What I did not like about working on this project was how messy the oil pastels could get and how they could stain your clothes. Next, I wanted to talk about my Dia de los Muertos art, which was an artwork that I had the most fun making. The sugar skull that we had to paint really connected with me in some way because of my culture, making it an enjoyable artwork. Although I messed up in some areas, I'm not good at using watercolor at all, and you can see that by looking at how bloody some of the dots are and how she was purple on her face. It was a complete accident. Overall, I think that out of all projects, this would have to be my favorite just because of the subject. Now on to my charcoal drawing. Now as you can see by this picture, the charcoal drawing was nowhere near completion, and this was because some of the little details were taking too much time to do and I got stuck on one thing for too long and I didn't focus on any other part of the drawing, effectively wasting my time and not getting much done. While I was thinking about what I was going to do next, I thought of doing really small strokes on the hills and then have them fade away as if they were fog or something, and it really came out nicely. I also enjoyed this one, and I think that charcoal is one of my strong suits when it comes to art and art pieces, and this art piece does have potential. Finally, my research paper on the notorious funk art. This was very interesting. This was a very interesting thing to research about, mainly because it was a 70s version of modern art. Let me elaborate on that. During the 70s, people mainly from the Bay wanted to start a movement of just pure soul and not letting others tell you what is or isn't art. This movement was an important one for sure, just because it made people look at themselves deeply and it made art have a lot more soul to it and surely a lot more funk. Now, when we talk about funk, we're talking about the 70s style where there was so many colors, people were happy, and everybody was just so friendly to each other. But when we talk about funk art, it's a very different concept because although people were happy and joyous, the art style was more about the funk than it was the art. The literal term for funk is a musty smell or something disgusting, and this is reflected heavily in some people's funk art because they would literally use garbage to make their pieces. Some people bought things from flea markets to make sculptures, but others would use garbage from a garbage can to make their sculptures. Funk art is an amazing way for people to express themselves without the use of technology and promote the use of your soul to make artworks. This concludes my Art 2 video. As you can see, I've learned quite a lot in this semester of art, and I hope to learn a lot more in the next. This is Anthony Tapia, and goodbye.